Fellow viewers, good evening, good afternoon, good morning from wherever you are following us again. We are all welcome into another episode of our program. Today we will be working on Cameroon history and we will be entering into session B. And in this area, we will be looking at constitutional developments in British Southern Cameroon. When we talk about a constitution, we are referring to rules and regulations that govern a country or people living in a particular area. So we are going to look at constitutions that were put in place by administrators or governors who were sent by Britain during the mandate and the trusteeship period to come and administer Nigeria and Southern Cameroon. We are going to look at how these constitutions they influence the political evolution in British Southern Cameroon from one state to another, from one constitution to another. So we are going to start with the Clifford Constitution. As I earlier said, that constitutions are rules and regulations that govern a country. Clifford was an administrator that was sent by Britain to come and administer Nigeria and Southern Cameroon. And in as much as we know that at the end of the First World War, British Southern Cameroon was administered as part of Nigeria from 1916. Therefore, from 1922, when the mandate period officially began in British Southern Cameroon was ruled as part of Nigeria. So, administrators or governors that Britain sent to come and administer Nigeria came up with constitutions on how to administer Nigeria, and this constitution affected both Nigeria and British Southern Cameroon, which was attached and administered as an integral part of Nigeria. The first constitution we'll be looking at was the Clifford Constitution that was put in place in 1922. Clifford was the first governor that was sent by Britain to come and administer Nigeria and the Southern Cameroon under the mandate period. Before Clifford came, Nigeria and Southern Cameroon was administered through the policy of indirect rule, which was introduced in northern Nigeria by Frederick Lolugard. Frederick Lolugard introduced indirect rule, and indirect rule was a policy who made use of traditional rulers to administer their subject using their traditional institution. So, under the policy of indirect rule, Frederick Lolugard, who has ruled Nigeria from 1914 to 1919, under the policy of indirect rule, introduced an old council in Nigeria in 1914. Old council. Old council means it was mostly for traditional rulers. In 1914, they introduced the Old Nigerian Council. Now, this Old Nigerian Council, it was being criticized by a movement of youth in Nigeria known as the Nigerian Youth Movement, as well as a political party that was called the Nigerian National Democratic Party that was formed by Herbert Makule. The reason why Nigerian youth and the Nigerian National Democratic Party criticized indirect rule was because it made mostly use of traditional rulers. So the youth were educated and the members of the political party thought it necessary that they should not be educated and people are not going to school should be representing them in the whole Nigerian Council. And so when Sir Hugh Clifford was appointed as governor of Nigeria in 1922, Hugh Clifford came and replaced Frederick Lolugard. And when he came up with what we call the Clifford Constitution. The Clifford Constitution of 1922 came and in the Clifford Constitution, the whole Nigerian Council that was created under the indirect rule was replaced to a legislative council. Legislative council was mostly for people who were educated, and the legislative council was created in 1922 under the Clifford Constitution. This legislative council was made up of 46 members. Now, the 46 representatives were based in Lagos, British Southern Cameroon, who was attached as part of Nigeria, was never given a seat in the Legislative Council for over a period of 20 years. It was until in 1942 where British Southern Cameroon was represented in the Legislative Council of 46 members that was created in Nigeria under the Clifford Constitution. Now, who was the person that represented British Southern Cameroon? It was Chief Jesco Manga William. Chief Jesco Manga William from Victoria. He was the person that represented British Southern Cameroon in the Legislative Council that was created in 1922. But he only gained the representation in 1942, 20 years after. And the reason why he represented Southern Cameroon was because Southern Cameroonians were criticizing the British. They have to pressurize the British that why should they be part of Nigeria, attached to Nigeria, but they are not represented in the assembly. They needed somebody to represent them in the assembly so as to carry their political, economic, and social problems to table it to the administration through the Legislative Council. So because of the pressure that was coming from Southern Cameroonian, especially from the first political pressure group that was formed in British Southern Cameroon, known as the Cameroon Welfare Union, that was created in 1939 by a veteran schoolmaster called a retired schoolmaster called G.J. Bennett. He was the one who created the Cameroon Welfare Union in the year 1939. So, because of pressure from the Cameroon Welfare Union, which was a political pressure group that was created by this retired headmaster in 1939, Southern Cameroon was represented in the Legislative Council in 1942. Represented by Chief Jesco Manga William. Now, that was the development of the Clifford Constitution. Now, the Clifford Constitution was later replaced by the Richard Constitution. Otto Richard was a governor that was appointed by Britain to come and rule Nigeria and British Southern Cameroon. Richard was appointed in 1943. Otto Richard was appointed as governor in 1943 to replace Clifford. Now, when Richard came in 1943, his constitution was not immediately put in place. His constitution was put in place in 1946, but the constitution started functioning from the 1st of January 1947. Now, let's look at how there was a development in the Richard Constitution. When we talk about development, we talk about changes. From the Clifford Constitution, what were the changes that occurred in the Richard Constitution? Now, the Richard Constitution came out with some following conditions or some terms. The first term on the Richard Constitution was that Nigeria was divided into 3 different regions. Nigeria was divided into 3 different regions. The regions were, this was the Eastern region, this was the Western region, the Northern region, and the Federal House of Assembly that was based in Lagos. The British Southern Cameroon was attached to the Eastern region of Nigeria. This was the first term under the Richard Constitution. Now, another term under the Richard Constitution was that the Constitution created regional assemblies and houses of executive in the 3 regions, which means the Eastern region of Nigeria, it has a house of assembly and an executive. The Northern region has a house of assembly and an executive. Likewise, the Western region has a house of assembly and an executive. Now, British Southern Cameroonians started criticizing the Richard Constitution because, one, to the people in British Southern Cameroon, they felt that the Constitution failed to create Southern Cameroon a separate region. that the constitution has attached British Southern Cameroon to the eastern region. The second criticism that came from Southern Cameroon was that the Richard Constitution took the one seat that was given to Southern Cameroon under the Clifford Constitution in Lagos and gave the two seats to Southern Cameroonian in the Eastern Regional House of Assembly that was based in Enugu, because Enugu was the capital of the Eastern region. So the criticism Southern Cameroonian gave was that if you are taking one seat that was given to us under the Clifford Constitution in the Upper Assembly in Lagos, definitely in the Lower House of Assembly in Enugu, you should give us more seats. To them, two seats were small to press for socio-economic and political changes in British Southern Cameroon. And who were those who occupied these two seats that were given under the Richard Constitution? We have Manga William, again, there was Manga William and Fongaligatu of Bali. These were the people who represented British Southern Cameroon in the Eastern Regional House of Assembly in Enugu under the Richard Constitution. Another criticism that Southern Cameroonian gave under the Richard Constitution was that the Richard Constitution has taking the traditional rulers. These people were traditional rulers. The educated elite in British Southern Cameroon were not happy because the seats that were given to Southern Cameroonians were given only to traditional rulers. So the elites were not happy. With the criticisms in the Richard Constitution, even Nigerians, they themselves, they criticized the Richard Constitution. People like Nnamdi Azikiwe criticized the Richard Constitution. In fact, in 1947, when the Richard Constitution was put in place, the very year, we have Nigerians and Southern Cameroonian. In British Southern Cameroon, we have PM Kale, which was a British Southern Cameroonian, together with the NCNC delegation. NCNC was a political party that was formed in 1944 in Nigeria, formed by Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. So when the Richard Constitution was put in place, we have Nigerians like Nnamdi Azikiwe who criticized the Constitution with the reason that the Constitution has divided Nigerians into tribes or regions and made Nigerians not to have a sense of national belonging. Why? Because the Constitution made the people in the eastern region of Nigeria, who were the Igbos, they started feeling that they are more of Nigerian. They started differentiating themselves from the people in the western region, were the Yorubas, as well as the Hausas in the northern region. So we discovered that the Constitution, by dividing Nigeria into regions, created Nigerian, divided Nigeria, because a Yoruba man in the west started feeling different from an Igbo man in the east. Same way like the Hausas in the north. So the criticisms Southern Cameroonian gave together with Nigeria enabled Richard. Richard was sacked or dismissed in 1947. Now we are looking at constitutional development. We have looked at how the Clifford Constitution emanated from an old Nigerian council that was created under Inaru. After the Clifford Constitution, we look at how Richard came up with a constitution to modify the Clifford Constitution by adding 2 seats to Southern Cameroon, where Southern Cameroon was given just 1 seat. Now, when Richard was dismissed in 1947, because of the reasons I have given, we discovered that in 1948, another governor was appointed to come and take the place of Otto Richard. And this man was called John McPherson. John McPherson was appointed in 1948 to come and replace Otto Richard as a new governor to govern Nigeria and British Southern Cameroon. McPherson came in, when he came in 1948, what happened was that in Southern Cameroon, EML Endele, Emmanuel Mbele Lifefe Endele, who was a British Southern Cameroonian advocate, he formed a political pressure group known as Cameroon National Federation. The Cameroon National Federation was formed in 1949. The reason why he formed the Cameroon National Federation was because when McPherson was appointed in 1948, there was a conference that was going to come up for Nigerians and Southern Cameroonians to sit together and draft some proposals that will be given to McPherson as a new constitution that was to take and rule British Southern Cameroon. So, Endele formed the Cameroon National Federation as a political pressure group so that the Southern Cameroonian politicians will use this political pressure group as an umbrella to go to the conference that was coming up for Nigerians and Southern Cameroonians to draft the terms of the McPherson Constitution. This conference was going to take place in Ibadan in 1950. In Ibadan is a town in Nigeria between the 9th to the 28th of January 1950. The Ibadan conference took place. I said EMA ended from the Cameroon National Federation so that Southern Cameroonians will enter under the political pressure group and go to Nigeria and clamor for their own changes under the constitution. And the political pressure group, it was the third political pressure group that was formed in British Southern Cameroon. Now, in the Ibadan conference of 9 to 28 of January 1950, I repeat, Ibadan is a town in Nigeria. In the conference, the Southern Cameroonian delegation, together with the Nigerians, went. And for all the period that they have been there, Southern Cameroonians, especially EML Endele in the Ibadan conference, he has drafted a paper whom, according to him, he made it clear that the administration of British Southern Cameroon as part of Nigeria has caused Southern Cameroon to be losing a lot. And so, Southern Cameroon should be given a separate region. Even if they are still to be attached to Nigeria, they shouldn't be administered as part of the eastern region of Nigeria. And when Endele made that demand, the delegates in the Ibadan conference, especially the Nigerian delegation, were not happy. And they refused that Southern Cameroon will not be given a separate region. In fact, the papers of Endele were twisted and thrown in the waste basket. Now, let's look at how the decisions in the McPherson Constitution or the Ibadan decision, because the decisions that were taken in the Ibadan conference were given to John McPherson, which were later implemented as the McPherson Constitution. The reason why Southern Cameroonians and Nigerians thought it necessary to come out with terms on how they were to give to McPherson on how to administer both Nigeria and Southern Cameroon was because they felt that Richard, the British administrator, came out with his constitution. Southern Cameroonians were not happy and Nigerians were not also happy. And so, to avoid a scenario where McPherson would come out with a constitution who was going to affect Southern Cameroon and Nigeria negatively, they thought it necessary to come out with the McPherson Constitution and give it to John McPherson to administer Southern Cameroon and Nigeria. Let's look at how the McPherson Constitution was implemented, or the terms of the McPherson Constitution, especially how they affected Southern Cameroon. Now, the first thing under the McPherson Constitution they did was that the Constitution confirmed that Southern Cameroon should still be attached as part of the eastern region of Nigeria as it was stipulated under the Richard Constitution. So, the Constitution failed, or it did not give a separate region to British Southern Cameroon. The second decision was that the Constitution agreed that Southern Cameroon number of seats will be increased from 2 to 13 representatives. Don't forget, under the Richard Constitution, we have discussed that Southern Cameroon was given 2 seats in the legislative council in Enugu. So the Southern Cameroonians criticized Richard Constitution because to them the number of seats were small. 2 people were small to clamor for socio-political and economic changes in the territory that was backwardly developed by the British. So they needed more representatives in the assembly so that the more the people, the higher their voices and their demands could be granted. So the number of seats were increased from 2 to 13. Another decision that was taken was that Southern Cameroon was to present 1 minister in the Council of Ministers in Enugu. Don't forget I said Enugu was the capital of the Eastern region, which Southern Cameroon was attached to. Therefore, the Eastern region has a council of ministers as well as an assembly of representatives. So, in as much as Southern Cameroon has 13 representatives, they were going to present one ministerial position in the council of ministers in Enugu. And this minister was occupied by St. Muna, Solomon Tandem Muna from Mbengri in Norwest. He was occupying the post of Minister of Works in Enugu. That was the lone ministerial position Southern Cameroonian had in Enugu. Another term of the McPherson Constitution was that Southern Cameroon was to present a ministerial position in the Federal House of Ministers that was based in Lagos, in the Upper House of Ministers in Lagos, as I explained. So, Endele from Boya was the person that represented British Southern Cameroon as Minister of Labour in Lagos. Those were the most important conditions or terms of the McPherson Constitution. Now, I want us to come back and look at how the 13 seats were shared to Southern Cameroon. Because the Ibadan Conference took place in 1950, in 1951, the McPherson Constitution was put in place. So, in 1951, elections were organized in British Southern Cameroon for people to win seats. Now, before coming to the elections, since Southern Cameroon's seats were increased from 2 to 13, definitely they have to divide British Southern Cameroon into 6 administrative districts so that elections should be organized and people should win the elections and represent their various districts in the Eastern Regional House of Assembly in Enugu. Now, look at the way Southern Cameroon was shared. There was the Bamenda district. There was Bamenda. There was Nkambe. There was Nkambe. There was Wum. There was Wum. We have Victoria. We have Victoria. We have Kumba and Mamfe. These were the 6 divisions that were given to Southern Cameroon so as for elections to be conducted in 1951 for people to gain seats. Now, these 3 divisions we call it the Bamenda province, while these other 3 in the south or the coastal region were called the Cameroon province. Now, by 1951, elections were conducted in British Southern Cameroon for people to gain seats and be represented in the different districts. The only district that had 3 seats was Bamenda. Bamenda had 3 seats. In Bamenda, those who represented the Bamenda district during the 1951 who won seats, we have John Wufoncha was 1. We have Estimuna was 2. Then we have BT Lenjo was 3. Those were the 3 seats that represented the Bamenda district in the 1951 election. In Cambe, we have Ejengala 1 seat and Jetinze 1 another seat. In Wom, we have Chief Samanzi and Reverend J.C. Kansen. In Victoria, we have E.M. Endele and P.N. Motombi Woleta. In Kumba, we have Neros Nemasobile and Ari Enchali. While in Mampe, we have Simon Are George and M.N. Foju. These were the people who won election in 1951 and represented British Southern Cameroon in the 13 seats that were given to Southern Cameroon in the Eastern Regional House of Assembly in Enugu. Now, we need to know that in as much as they were representing Southern Cameroon in the Eastern Regional House of Assembly in Enugu, some of them, 6 of them, were given opportunity to be representing in the Federal House of Assembly in Lagos. So, we have Estimuna, we have Viti Lenjo. Viti Lenjo in the Bamenda district. Viti Lenjo was representing the Bamenda district in the Eastern Regional House of Assembly in Enugu and also representing the Bamenda district in the Federal House of Assembly in Lagos. So he represented the 2 houses on behalf of the people of Bamenda. In Cambe, we have Jetinze. Jetinze, he represented the Cambe district in the Eastern Region and the Federal Regional House of Assembly in Enugu, in Lagos. In Wom, we have Reverend J.C. Kansen, who represented whom in the two houses in Nigeria. In Victoria, we have E.M.L. Endele, represented the two houses. In Kumba, we have Neros Nemaso Bile, N.N. Bile. And in Manfe, we have S.A. Josh, Simon Array Josh. These people represented Southern Cameroon in the Eastern Regional Assembly in Enugu, as well as in the Federal House of Assembly in Lagos. Now, these people in British Southern Cameroon, being part of Nigeria, they still criticize. There were some changes that came up when the McPherson Constitution was put in place in British Southern Cameroon. There were some changes in British Southern Cameroon. So, the change that occurred was that in British Southern Cameroon, there was the formation of the fourth political pressure group, which was Cameroon United National Congress. The Cameroon United National Congress was formed in 1951 when Southern Cameroon was when this constitution was put in place. It was formed by Aroke Zibonge and E.M. Endele. So they formed this political pressure group, and the purpose was that they wanted to separate Southern Cameroon from Nigeria and attach it to French Cameroon. Again, as the constitution was going on, by the year 1953, there was a crisis in the eastern region of Nigeria where Southern Cameroon was attached to. So we are going to look at the eastern regional crisis before we come to the fourth constitution, which was the Lytleton Constitution that emanated as a result of the crisis in the eastern region of Nigeria. So from the board, we can see that we have the first constitution. It was later developed to the second constitution from 1 seat to 2 seats. Southern Cameroon attached to the eastern region. And then attached to the eastern region, they criticized. When they criticized, there was a development of the richer constitution by the McPherson Constitution, which increased the number of seats to 13. And Southern Cameroonian were not still happy. So there came a time where there was a crisis in the eastern region of Nigeria in May 1953 between two Nigerians, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe and Professor Eyorita. And the eastern regional crisis later led to the collapse of the McPherson Constitution, and the Lytleton Constitution was introduced. So we are going to take a short break, then we come back into the eastern regional crisis and we'll do it properly. Take note, in GCE, you can be asked a question, analyze the extent to which constitutional development between 1922 to 1954 facilitated the independence of British Southern. Thank you. This is Enchelon. We are going to come back for the second segment.